Okay, everyone, this is video 2. So, in today's video, we will be going over what we call parameterized constructors. In the previous video, we briefly went over constructors and non-argument constructors. So today we'll be taking a look at parameterized constructors. I think we'll be able to get the better picture of what a constructor is with these type of constructors. I think they really exemplify the true use of a constructor. So to start off, I've already written a definition, right? I hope it's understandable. So a parameterized constructor. A constructor that accepts parameters is a parameterized constructor. And is only used when we have to initialize an object's attributes with custom values. That's very important. And I would say there's a few terms we need to go over. The first term being a parameter, right? Parameter. I'll just assume that you guys don't know what a parameter is, and then we'll just go over it, right? So a parameter is a variable that is defined in the constructor that acts as a placeholder for receiving data, right? A variable defined in the constructor that acts as a placeholder, let me just fix that, placeholder for receiving data. Data, right? The second term being an argument. So an argument is the actual value you pass into the constructor when creating a new object, right? So an argument is the actual value you pass into the constructor when creating a new object. A parameter defines, well, can't delete everything. A parameter is defined in the constructor that acts as a placeholder. So these two work hand in hand. A parameter and the constructor work hand in hand. And I think that's every term I just wanted to go over so we don't get lost on those things. Because when I went over it, I got lost in it. So we'll be using the same example, but we just going to take it one step up a notch. Right. So the process is the same. We need to declare our class, right? So we do the same thing. Public class student info. Same process. Now we need to declare our fields. So we'll have a string to start off. This string will hold a student's name. And we close it. And then we have another string, right, for a student's gender. So gender, and we close it. And let's say we have another string, integer, for a student's student number. And we close it, right? So that would be our first step, to declare the fields. And now this is where we make the actual constructor. Right, so it's the same process. The only thing that's changing, I'll demonstrate that right now. Okay, so we say public, not public class, just public, and then student info. This time, this is where it changes. So we open brackets, and inside of the brackets, we are going to insert our parameters. So our parameters is basically just the placeholder for these. It's just going to hold that spot. So when we do enter a value, it goes into the placeholder, which is the parameter, and then object is creator. And those values we input are called our arguments. So I'll just skip over this part. We're going to get right back there. So if we go back, we will declare our objects, our fields here. So we got student name, oops, and then we'll have gender, then we have student number. So this is the part. We are going to equate this to our parameters. So what would we like our parameters to be? It could be the same, exact same as this, or it could be something else, right? In this example, I'll make it something else, but it will still mean the same thing. So all I'll do is write name, close it, and then for gender, I will write gender with a small. I'll just write this word. I know it's a bad word, but I'll write that. It means the same thing. And then for student number, we'll write ID and close it. So as you can see, we have a problem. Let's read what it says, right? Cannot resolve symbol name. So the ID is a bit confused, like what is this person trying to do? So the problem is here. We need to declare these variables. So string name, comma, and we separate each one with a comma. And then we can say string, right? And then for the student number, we can say int ID. Done. Error gone. Change signature. No. So we've done everything, right? Okay, no, let's not do that. So this is basically it. We have our parameters. This is a parameter. This is the parameter. This is a parameter, right? And we've declared it over here. So now we go to our main. Let's create the main quickly. So we're going to say public class main, squiggly brackets, right? Open brackets. Now we say public static void main, open brackets, string, square brackets, and then args. Right, done so for that part. Okay, now this is where the interesting part happens. So now, as we read here, we have what we call initialize. So to initialize is, in this context, would be to appoint values upon creating this object. So the nice thing about parameterized constructors is that as soon as we create our object, we state its values, and we don't need to do all that steps as in the previous video. So to give you an example, we'll create someone, right? So we'll say student info and then what we'll say student1 equals to student equals to new student info, open bracket, right? So this is the difference. So inside of here is where we will give its values. We'll give this object its values. So as you saw, we had string name, string sex, and then integer ID. So we'll start with string name. What is this person's name? All you do is, it came there already. What is his name? We'll call him Bob, comma, and then now we need to give this person a gender. Bob is, oh, it came. Bob is a male, comma, how old, what is Bob's student number? So all we do is type a student number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As you saw, our parameters have taken hold of the arguments. So if we go here, we need to close this now. So if we ran this, to my knowledge, nothing should happen. Everything ran perfectly. Those errors went away as well. So to actually see this, we can say system.out.print, right? And then all we need to do is, what would we like to see about the student? We can specify it. So we can say student1 dot student what? Gender. So when you want to see the student's information, we don't use the parameters, because the parameters just hold the value. We use the actual name we gave them. We use the actual variable name. So we'd use student name if we wanted to see the name. We'd use gender if we wanted to see the sex. We'd use student number if we wanted to see the ID. So let's say we want to see what this person's name is. So student name, done. Close it and let's see. Bob. So his name is Bob. And we could add some sort of filler to this if you'd like. So we could say shift name, go back, colon, space, close it over there, and then we say plus Dunzo. So his name is name Bob, and we could do that for everything else. So if we went here, we'll just change this. What is this name? So we say gender, and you are allowed to use the variable name there. And then let's change this to student ID. So then all we need to do here is change this. So what was this? This was student number. Student number. What is this one? Gender. Done. So let's run that and see. Name is Bob, gender is male, student ID is 1 to 7. So that is what we would call a parameterized constructor. It makes making objects way easier. We give the objects their information as we make them. We don't need to go back and write code to make them. And just to give you an example of how this works is that when we run main will call our student info class. When it calls this, we go over here. So it takes all of these values we've inputted, these ones specifically. So it'll take Bob all the way over here and put Bob's name over here. And then put Bob's name over here and do the same for the gender and the ID until it has all Bob's information and the object is created. And then we are able to print it out. So that would be it for a parameterized constructor. And if there's anything you guys are unclear about or would like me to fix, do feel free to leave a comment and do subscribe and like the video. Thank you.